and welcome to another program of Budget in Focus, where we discuss Budget 2017 and all the measures and issues contained therein. Today, we're very privileged and honored to have with us the Honorable Vice President and Minister of Public Security, Kemraj Ramjattan. Minister Ramjattan, Vice President, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. I feel very proud being here, although I suppose I was the last. But
well, you're among the tail enders.
That's correct.
To use a cricketing term.
But I'm very happy to be here to give some insights as to what the security sector brings, and of course some other general remarks.
Well, let's get right into it, and I want to lead you in a general way to get your reaction from Budget 2017, having listened to the presentation of the Minister of Finance, the Honorable Winston Jordan, having participated and listened to the debate that followed, and also the consideration of estimates, which is ongoing as we speak. What's your general reaction to Budget 2017?
In the context of the times that we had to come up with this budget, it is an extremely good budget. It is not as if it is the best of economic times. Sugar is not doing well. As a matter of fact, we have to bail it out with taxpayers' monies.
$9 billion in this budget.
Yes, and the number last year and even the year before. Budget 2017 has remarkable characteristics about it in the context of the times. A time when the international economic community is struggling with growth, as it were. And that is why I mentioned in the preliminary remarks in my budget presentation that all the experts, economic experts, have been saying that the world's economy is stuck at neutral. It is not reversing, but neither is it going forward at the pace it was in the recent past. And it is stuck there for some time now because of what they call slow growth. And slow growth is coming, as they have mentioned, because of a lot of people saving their money rather than wanting to invest and consume. And so that's the difficulty. Lots of people are producing, but a lot of people are not buying. And that's the simple way to put it. In Guyana, we suffer from that fact too. Lots of people who would otherwise have come to Guyana to invest, they just keep holding on to their monies, probably waiting for a better day to come or to see how things are going to play out. It could be that the recent events of an American elections, they don't know who will win and all of that, and how it's going to play out further will keep them not wanting to invest. But it is a global problem. And so, indeed, we're going to suffer as a result. Remember, when the big countries have a cough, we suffer a cold and sometimes worse here in Guyana. And I want to say that it is remarkable that the decisions, and the very hard decisions, had to be made by the finance minister as to what will be done to take this country in the right trajectory, in the right direction. I want to give you a little inside information that we, all ministers within the various sectors, are going to make demands on the Ministry of Finance. And we're going to say we want some more money for police, we want some more money for community policing, fire reels, the hydrants to be built so that we're going to look after the fire, the major expansion works on prison, Kanu, and all the other various units that come under us. And that will be the same thing for education and health and all of that. But there is what is called revenue streams. And the revenue streams are not like it used to be. And that is why I am saying hard decisions had to be made, because we have to do a set of social programs. And it is remarkable how he has managed to do it. And in the context of reducing VAT, and in the context of ensuring that that revenue stream will still remain. Because it's one hell of a thing when doing the reconfiguration of your economy in the projections for the next following year, that you are going to say, well, okay, we're going to reduce taxes and then not have a revenue stream. Well, we had to make some decisions, and of course, he has made the decision, and we all will support him on that, as we did in the Parliament, and it is in that context that this budget must be seen. There are some taxes that we had to raise. There are some items that we had to widen the tax base from. There are monies that we have to spend to ensure that we get a tax administration that is going to go out there and collect it from the evaders and the avoiders. And all of that had to be done. And I think the very, very tough decisions had to be made early. And it had to be made this year. And I think it is remarkable on that score for its courage, its boldness. And I wanted to commend him for that.
You speak about the hard and tough decisions, but alongside those hard and tough decisions with regard to some taxation measures, have also been some tax measures that will be to the benefit of the population. For example, a new taxation, personal tax regime.
Absolutely.
And the reduction of VAT from 16% to 14%.
That's correct.
A manifesto of the coalition government's promise, and the increase of the threshold from 10 million to 15 million. These must be pleasing to you to know that the people will benefit from these measures. They'll have more disposable income.
Absolutely. And all the chatter that we have taken with one hand and given back with the other has to be understood in that context. And we are doing a budget here that is with a corrective approach of what went wrong before. That is why I'm saying it is bold to be right, but also bold to be rectificatory. That's the word. It's a big word. But you got to start rectifying what went wrong. Let me tell you what went wrong. And I was there. I have been in Parliament now for about 24, 25 years, since 1992.
Elder statesman.
Well, you can say that, expelled elder statesman and all of that. But it doesn't matter. I am still there. Somehow I have survived. And I can tell you what happened in 205. In 205, the taxation system that VAT was to replace was supposed to bring in the vicinity of about, I think about 16, 17 billion dollars. Okay? Bharat Jagdeo was a very smart, clever president in the sense of this, that when he replaced it, he did not, in that bill, put what is called the rate of the taxation. We all knew that to replace VAT, replace all the other taxes with a VAT would require a rate of 12%. What Mr. Jagdeo and his government, the PPP then, did, I had just been expelled from it. I had big problems with them about this score, along with other ideological matters. And all the experts had indicated that VAT rate must be 12% or lower. Bharat Jagdeo and his cabinet, in 2005, although they passed that act, did not enforce VAT for the entire year to 2006 because it was an elections year. As soon as 2007 came, however, 1st of January, VAT literally came on stream. And you know what was the rate? 16%, 4 more. Now that was looting the ordinary poor people of this country by 4% on 1,000,001 items and services across the board. He made, as a result of that VAT rate, along with the excise tax, in excess of $16 billion per annum. A huge windfall. So when they are talking about how we are ripping the people off, I want the people to understand, Imran, the rip-off happened in 2005 when the rate of VAT was supposed to be 12% and when all items and services, almost all items and services, were supposed to be VATable. What Bharat did after 2007 when he put the rate high up to 16, an extra 4% he got on 1,000,001 items, every item. If you ever go and check the customs books, items, the books are ticked like this. All the items, like McCall, this, that, A to Z, on everything. He raised it by 4%. That is why he could have gotten that $16 billion more. And then what he did, he started zero rating a number of items during the course of that 5-year period that he would be president for the second term. You understand what I'm saying? Up to 2011. So he could have managed, because he had a windfall, to zero rate a lot of the items because of the 16% rate. And that's the smartness of him, the deception. And a lot of people don't understand that. Now we are rectifying and also keeping a promise that we will reduce VAT. VAT, when it was intended in 2005, was that all the items are supposed to be VATable, right? And that is the speech made by Sheikh Baksh. That is the speech made by Mansour Nadir and all the PPP members then. That time I was just pushed aside. I was just got expelled from the party, and I was sitting on the bench. They couldn't expel me from Parliament because there wasn't a recall legislation. And I took advantage of that and sat with them, but apart from them, they shoved me aside. But that was the smartness. That was a deception. So when they come now and we are doing what is called something rectificatory, correcting a wrong that happened 10 years ago, 2005, 2007 period to 2017 period, we have to widen the tax base.
In other words, what you're saying, the rate was high, so therefore they had more zero-rated items.
Absolutely.
Now that the lower rate is being
14%,
applied,
yes.
some items that were zero-rated, that ought not to have been zero-rated in the first place, will now have to be VATable.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So rebalancing.
Exactly, and that
but
is
it
the
is all
rebalancing.
to the benefit of the consumers
Of
in the
course
end,
it is
because
all
you're
to
paying
the-
a lower rate on
Absolutely.
everything.
But more, a lot of people don't understand the other side of the argument. When you remain with the revenue stream that will come as a result, you're also going to make the roads, make the better hospitals, make the streets, make the right things and all of that. Because if we, infrastructure, because had we now only retained, let's say, all the zero-rated items, and you couldn't get the revenue stream, our social programs and projects out there would have been affected. We don't want to affect that. And that is why, although we are correcting, we have to get the revenue streams so that we could do our spending. Because whenever you want to reduce taxes, unless your economy is doing well with revenue streams that might come with an oil economy, let's say.
And you've explained sugar not doing well.
Sugar and rice not doing well. And assuming if you had oil and oil bringing in some monies and so on, you could have reduced the VAT to the 14% and leave the zero rated as there. Or, and do that. But no, we don't have that luxury. We have to make sure now that to do our social programs and social projects, we have to have that revenue stream that will come back. So it is not as if we must deny ourselves that. And I want people out there to understand that. Because lots of projects, agriculture has a lot. He mentioned only just now to me a couple which is going to see that we're going to, in a 3-year program, see the livestock development happening, a number of other experiment farming and so on. We got to get money to do all those things. And so a lot of people feel that, this is how you run country. You just reduce taxes and you allow those who are evaders and avoiders to continue to evade and avoid. No, you have to strengthen those arms so that you can get the revenue stream against those culprits who are trying to do mischief by not bringing in the monies. And it is, contextually, I want you to understand this. A little black boy or coolie boy snatch your chain, you want him to suffer the consequences, jail him, They got some real big people in this country who don't pay millions and billions of dollars. But what we got to do? We got to worship them. We want the tax administration to work equally across the board. So if you commit a crime, and the tax evasion is a crime in this country. And all over the world, a lot of people are trying to evade and avoid. That is why America is making such big deals with the safe havens in Bahamas and Switzerland and compelling them that I want to know this fella, monies that he got in Switzerland and so on. The entire world is getting transparent. And when we now say that if you owe us taxes, we have to get after you to get the taxes paid so that we could build better schools, we could give children better education, we could give the policemen a better salary and the teachers a better salary. And these culprits out there, especially from those who are supposed to pay more, not paying, do you know how they are robbing our economy? And
White collar.
Oh my God. And that sometimes is far more disastrous than the fellow that snatch your chain or snatch your half a sack and in front of tower. It has far more deleterious effects on an economy and a people. And that is what we were trying to do. That is how we were rectifying the situation. And that is why we had to, last year, I think, or earlier this year, do bidding for the tax man. We managed to get Mr. Stacia to come back, who knows a lot about the tax law. We are trying to revamp all of that. It is because we want to build this economy from that proper area and unit, taxation. The first duty of a citizen is to pay his taxes. And even the religious people, give unto Caesar that which is Caesar's. But we feel that we must always get lower taxes and then not realizing where do we get the revenue to want to build that hole or that potholed road. How do you asphalt it? Where do you get the money from? Do you think you get the money from it grows in tree? It doesn't.
What you're effectively saying is that what we're seeing in a lot of the comments, particularly the negative comments, perhaps is fueled by a resistance to change.
Absolutely.
And from a particular quarter.
Absolutely. And that is why a lot of people are not getting the argument that almost 83% of the population will not be paying VAT on water and electricity. Because when dealing with this budget, there was clear identification of the capacity of the Minister of Finance working through evidence-based approach. How many people got water meters? And he said he asked the GWI, he asked GPL, how many people got meters? How many people will be affected if we were to do the 14% VAT increase at a certain threshold? And then what he did is what is very humanistic, and that is why I like what he did. That is why I'm thinking that his budget is remarkable, because about 80% of those categories, electricity users and water users, will not pay, because right now 83% of the water users don't pay 1,500 and more, and another 83 or 82% don't pay 10,000 and more electricity a month.
Just to clarify that the VAT only applies after your consumption would be beyond 10,000 for electricity
and
per month
1,500.
and 1,500 per month for water.
Yes.
And 83 and 80% somewhere around there are below those thresholds.
So that 20% will have to pay the 14% and more. But what is going to do?
We're above the 10,000.
We're above the 10, right. And a lot of the people out there did not understand that. And that is because of the twist that the PBP went around with. Oh my God, they got to pay more and all of that. And then you got a chattering class out there, what I call the chatterati. They just don't understand the argument. They don't see the need for a revamping and a reconfiguration of this thing. And they've gone off.
Resistance to change.
It is always going to be a defiant approach from those who don't like what is coming because it is the correct thing.
Or evading and will need to be brought into
because their benefits are now going to be nullified. And if they don't want to understand that we have to correct so many of the wrongs, and we were put here to correct the wrongs. That is why there was a change in government.
In other words, there has to be every citizen paying their fair share of taxes.
Absolutely. And especially those who have a capacity to pay. And those who can pay more, especially the richer, they should pay more because they enjoy more. And that is all we're doing here. This is a budget that they say how we are being parasites and sucking the blood, and we are the legal larceny and all the concepts that people like Frank Anthony and Vindi Prasad come up with, and Bharat Jagdeo. That's not true. We are doing that which like a Cherry Jagan would have done. And that is in a sense reminiscent, if I may do the comparisons, like the Caldor